Everyone is requested to please, click on the link and the enter the code provided and ask your questions there. We'll be taking up all of them together from the Canva Live link only. And refrain from asking questions in the chat box. I believe it's time to start. So, welcome everybody. This is the third session of Mastering the Masters with ACM-IGDTUW. And today's special guest is Abhishek Sansanwal. And probably he does not require the type of introductions we provide to all the other judges. He is an upcoming grad at Cornell University at USA. And he is a Google Venkat Memorial Scholar. He is the founder and CEO of VERVED, and he has been a GSoC student at Amahi, and many more other achievements he has under his name. A lot of awards and recognitions. 2 times TEDx speaker, president and co-founder at IOSD MSIT, Asia's 40 under 40 most influential Indians by NCCN, and the list goes endlessly. So we'll be starting soon, and now we'll be starting with the questions which the jury has prepared, and then we'll be taking the questions at the end from the link and the code provided in the chat box. Please ask your questions over there, and we'll be taking them personally one by one. So, sir, the first question from our side is like, what exactly is your motivation to pursue masters? Like, there are a lot of students who actually prefer doing the job after their BTech, but what is your motivation to pursue masters, that too abroad?
Okay, let's begin with this question. So I think I've always wanted to see how the education system is outside of India in other countries. And I think the first spark of doing masters was actually after grade 12, when I did not take the IIT exam, and I thought, all right, let's go for bachelor's, let's go abroad. But then we all know how much it costs if we're doing 4 years of education in the US. So that's like when I knew that I have to go and see how how things go outside of India. But I would say when I was in third year, that's when like things got more like solidified, and I thought, all right, this is the time to apply to masters. And what led me to this decision is probably my journey. So as you already know, I did BTech. I mean, I'm currently in final year. I did BTech in IT, and I've always been in the coding field in my first and second year. And then I switched to the business side of things. I started VERVED, and with that, I had to do a lot of things. I had to handle different teams, manage people, and then I transitioned to product management. So with this transition from tech to management, I always felt like I didn't have the right skills to actually take work to global level, right? So that's when I decided, okay, I think it's time to do a master's, a grad program where I can actually leverage my tech background and also learn business skills to become a better leader, a better business person, I guess.
And now that you have mentioned VERVED, like we all would like to know what exactly the startup is all about.
Yeah, for sure. So we started VERVED with, we didn't actually start VERVED to make a company or anything like that. If anyone who's currently in the audience has attended any other webinar, they know like the idea behind VERVED was just to help my batchmates get an opportunity to work on live projects. Like that was the idea. But just within 2 months of our launch, we had a lot of clients, and that's when we thought, okay, we have to move in the corporate direction. So the main like projects that we did were mobile apps, websites. That was what we started with, and then we further expanded into designing, growth hacking, and marketing. So like we were doing kind of all of those things, and then we completely shifted to working on a mentorship program called VERVED program, which is currently on hold. We're not doing anything on that. We are not even doing anything at Verved. We're not taking any new projects. Since I started that, I'll be going for masters. I guess that's how things are. I'll first finish my grad school, and then I'll come back to my entrepreneurship journey.
Well, that's great. And the undergrad course, which you had actually mentioned, so we'd actually like to know that what exactly is this course all about, which is the sole uh, situation why we have all gathered today. Everybody here wants to know the course which you are actually moving on to.
Yeah, so the course that I will be joining at Cornell is called Engineering Management. And what it is like you can just consider it like MBA for engineers, right? So it's sort of like a combination of engineering plus management. That's why the name Engineering Management, wherein you have the opportunity to take electives from the business school at Cornell, and also you can select tech electives or any engineering field that you're interested in. So like it works in a really good manner that you can get a sort of an MBA degree in just 9 months of time.
Oh, so is it something related to product management? Because as far as we have seen your portfolio, it says that you're actually a product manager at Nutrify. So is it because of the love to manage things into the technology part that you've chosen this one course?
Yeah. So as I said that I when I shifted from coding, when I left coding in a way, and shifted to more business side of things, that's when I felt like I need to actually like level up my skills, which I couldn't see myself doing on my own. And yeah, yeah, as you asked, it's not specifically for product management. Engineering management is a really vast field, so you can really dive into any field that you're interested in. Any like engineering team, you can get into finance, you can get into entrepreneurship, you can also get into product management, you can become a project manager, you can become a program manager. So like there's a lot of fields, and as I said, you have a lot of flexibility, especially at Cornell, to choose the electives that you're interested in, so that can help you dive into any career path that you want to get into.
And do other universities also provide a course in engineering and management? Like I've seen one of the few posts on your LinkedIn itself that there was a person starting for Duke University for the similar course.
Yeah.
So, like, what all other are the universities providing the similar course, if not Cornell?
Yeah, there's actually a lot of universities in the US that offer engineering management, but the best ones, or like the most well-known ones, are the ones that are part of something called MEMPC. So it's a consortium of engineering management programs, the best engineering management programs, and in that you have obviously you have Cornell, and then there's Duke University, MIT, and Dartmouth, and USC, John Hopkins, Purdue. Like there's a lot of programs. If you are like interested in getting into it, if you do your research, you'll find plenty of programs in this that offer this subject.
Great. Then let us come to the SOP part, because that's actually one of the most important things which is considered while you're applying for masters or any other courses abroad. So as we have all known that you have a list of achievements, so how did you cut it short to just a few paragraphs in your SOP, and what all did you not include in it, and what all did you include in it? We'd like to know that.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a wonderful question, because a lot of times people, what they do is they write a really long SOP and try to put everything that they've done. But yeah, like one thing that I would say before beginning the answer is that for all the schools that you're applying to, do check the SOP guidelines. There's word limits to the SOP, so that you can accordingly like write your stories and decide what to include and what not to include. Coming to my SOP, I wanted to the biggest focus that I had was to bring out the best of what I had done. So during my bachelor's, I had worked with more than 10 companies on different like projects as an intern. But there's not that much space in the SOP. So I made sure to focus on only the ones that had the most impact, like the Google Summer of Code project. And then the first internship that I did at Zenotabyte as an iOS intern. So like that was the idea. And how I went about writing the SOP was I started with my line. If you like saw my TEDx talk, then you know the line, don't build a resume, build a life. So that was actually the first line of my SOP to sort of catch attention of the reader. So that's how I started. And then I said, like, I graduated in 2017 and I joined a mediocre school. And when I joined, I knew that there's not a lot of opportunities here. So everything that I have to do is going to be outside of school. And with that in mind, I mentioned about IOSD that since there were not many opportunities, I created an organization of my own. And what we did there, then I moved on to talk about how I started with internships and how I like climbed the ladder of one internship to the next one and then to the next one. And then I said that I did so many internships, so I understand that it was a matter of luck for a fresher to get an opportunity. That's why I started Verved. So like I made sure that all the paragraphs were connected, right? And then I talked about Verved, and then after talking about Verved, I talked about why I felt with my entrepreneurship journey that I lack some things that a grad school can help me learn, right? So that then I made sure that I have a paragraph that talked about why is this the right time to do a grad program and how can a grad school help me achieve my future goals. So I also mentioned my goals, near future goals and long term goals. And then the last paragraph was university specific paragraph where I mentioned why this university. Like, okay, you want to do a grad program, why at our school, right? So what's unique about our school? What are you expecting from it? So yep, that's how I went about it, and that's my suggestion. Just make sure you have a story that you're putting out, and that's why it's advised to write your SOP on your own. You can take help from your seniors or anyone else to like give feedback or just proofread it, but you know your story the best, and make sure that you write it in a flow. Yeah.
Uh, Everyone in the meeting, please, there's a link and a code provided in the chat box. If you have any questions specific to the anything specific to your particular doubts, then you may ask it on the Canva live questionnaire, and we'll be taking the questions at the end of the session. And now moving on to the other part, like this is a personal question. Like, if I am writing an SOP, then at an average, what exactly was the word limit in yours? And like, if every you have applied to a lot of universities as per your story, so how many SOPs did you have to make up? Because is it every university, different universities, or different SOP, or you can just copy paste the similar SOP and just with a few more changes to the other universities also?
Mhm. Yeah, so I'll say what the grad schools will probably tell you in their information sessions. Please don't write a generic SOP. We will catch it. We know we've seen so many applications, blah, blah. But hear me out. As I said, in your SOP, you have a flow, right? You have your whole story. You have your intentions of doing a grad program. You have your future goals. So majority of your SOP is going to be the same. What they mean by it shouldn't be generic is that make sure that it's personalized to what you have done. It's personalized to your journey. But yeah, when I said that the last paragraph or like second paragraph, that should be the university specific paragraph. So what I would suggest is write the SOP for one school, write the let's say write the SOP for your dream school. So you really put in your best, and then just change the university specific paragraph, which should probably be the second last and or the last paragraph. So like those 1 2 paragraphs, you just have to change them and make your SOP like specific to that program. And so if you're applying to 10 programs, like I applied to 10 programs, then I wrote one SOP, and then I changed that and tweaked a few things around for other 9 programs.
And about the word limit?
Yeah, so word limit, in my case, majority of the programs had like limit of 2 pages, right, which is around 800 to 900 words. But some programs do have a word limit of 1 page or like 400, 500 words. So that's why I make sure that you see like how it is for your program.
So even if the university is allowing for 2 pages, then is it advised that we must be writing the SOP to 1 page only, or if they're giving us the freedom of using 2 pages, then why not? Which of the two?
Um, yeah, no, I will suggest for sure like 2 pages is a decent amount of SOP. But like one suggestion I have is keep it 1.53. I mean, that's a random number, but yeah, 1.5 page, like that's more than enough. If even if your program says 1 page, they won't reject you because you've written an SOP of 1.5 pages. And yeah, I think that 1 page is a little short from my experience. I could not really fit in all the information in just 1 page. And I believe like with the flow of things, like talking about projects, internships, your intentions of doing MS, and then why this particular school, like these 4, 5, 6 paragraphs, it will take you more than 1 page. So yeah, just stick to 1.5 or maximum 2 pages.
Great. And now the main part, which is the a bit more scarier than other options, the GRE part. So how did you prepare it, and when should one actually start preparing? If the person has realized by the third year, then when should he or she start preparing? And if in case he or she has realized it in the class 12th itself that I want to go for MS abroad after my engineering, then should he or she start it within the first year itself, or when?
Yeah, that I get this question a lot, and I'll say that my preparation was actually really weird. I did not prepare for more than 3 days. I was really confident कि math तो हो जाएगा, like the quant part that'll be easy, and I just learned a few words, did a few random questions, and took the exam. But my advice to you would be to have a time frame of at least 1 month. I mean, 1 month is enough to get 320, around 320 scores on the GRE. But if you like want to give your best, then prepare for 2 to 3 months, right? And try to score above 330. Like it's not that you need 330 for like majority of programs, but why not give your best when you can? And when to start preparing, that again depends on when you want to go for MS. So like if you want to go right after undergrad, the best time would probably be May, June, July, or like March, April, May, like March to July, between that period, and take the GRE in June, if not in July, if not June, so that you have enough time to work on the SOP, get the LORs. Like that's my suggestion. But I would say if you have realized that right in your first year, ki I want to go for MS one day, then start preparing GRE words, start reading from that point itself. Like the more you know, the more it will help you on the actual exam, right? So make sure that you're um, learning at least 10 to 20 new words daily. Make sure you have a habit of reading to like deal with the reading comprehension passages. And I guess yeah, that should be it. It's not really tough. Don't stress about it. Even if you like mess up your preparation, last 1 month will be enough to get 320, and that's like the average. That's good for majority of programs. So yeah.
So it's like a 330 plus score in GRE and a bit lesser attractive SOP could actually get you a good college, or is it like both has to be A plus?
I would say it depends on the college and the program, because like let me give you an example from my journey. I had 319, 319 on the GRE, and I strongly think that my GRE scores was the reason why I got rejected from Stanford, which was my dream program. If you saw my LinkedIn post. But yeah, I strongly think so, because everything else in my profile was good, like what they would expect and what other people have had. in previous years. Like my profile was decent compared to theirs. But yeah, like GRE for sure, because it for my program at Stanford, the average is 330. So I have that number stuck in my mind. But again, like you'll be fine even with 315. Like the thing is, a good GRE score might not help you that much, because even if your GRE score is 340 out of 340, they are going to read your SOP, right? Unless you're going for like really safe programs, they will see, okay, this person has 320 plus, let's give them the admit. So like that's the thing. Don't think, I mean, you can balance one thing with another. Like if your GPA is low, you can get high GRE scores, like that works. But why not like give your best in everything? I mean, if you can, then just do it, because a lot of programs have internal like criterias. So like they consider GRE and GPA as negative filters. So what that means is, if you're, let's say, if their cut off sort of thing is 315 on the GRE, then even if you've scored 314, and even if you have a kick-ass SOP, they will see 314 and put your application to the side, and they will not move to the SOP and the LOR. Like this is not a lot of people tell you. And this is why the holistic review kind of comes into a question. When you're really separating applications on the basis of one particular thing, then how is it holistic at all? So that's why give your best, and yeah, hope for the best.
Great, great. And as you've said in the journey that you have been a GSoC student at Amahi, so what would you suggest, and what has been your experiences with both of the terms, the open source and the competitive programming?
hmm I would say it's like you're comparing apples to oranges, honestly, because I mean, they're just separate things. Open source is like you work on a project that's open source and you're contributing to it. You don't really have to have time in mind that you need to solve this in like this time complexity or whatever. But yeah, in my journey, I never really did competitive coding because I never felt like I really needed it. When I was an iOS developer, I didn't really do much of that. I mean, when I was to write an algorithm, I could really think of it and do it like in that moment, right? So I never focused on competitive coding. I never solved questions on CodeChef or anything like that, which probably makes sense because right now I'm not into coding anymore. I'm a product manager. But yeah, I would say like if you are passionate about open source and if you understand what it is, then go for it. Like a lot of people are in it just for the stipend, and I would say if you're like participating in Google Summer of Code for the money, I mean that's okay, but like it would really help if you're actually passionate about contributing to open source projects. Like it will teach you a lot. Technology keeps evolving, so yeah, like you're up to date with everything and you're always like practicing. Competitive coding, I would say do focus on that if you are sure that you want to get into software development field, because in all like software engineer or similar roles interviews at almost all companies in India, you will have a coding round, right? And I have observed people that are good at competitive coding, they generally kill in that round, right? The round goes really smooth. So I would say, yeah, think of your like priorities and kind of see what you can or what you want to do. And also there's no harm in kind of balancing the two, like keep contributing to open source, keep working on your competitive coding skills.
Great. And as you've mentioned that you have an experience of working with 10 plus companies and interning with them, and then you realize that actually a fresher is having a lot of problems while interning. And honestly speaking, I'm one of those freshers. I mean, though I'm a sophomore at IGDTUW, but still I am looking for internships since the past 2 months. And due to the skills which are actually required in the industry, students are lacking them, and henceforth they do not get the opportunity to intern with such companies and get the real life experiences. So how exactly did you manage to work with 10 plus companies within 4 years of your BTech? So we'd like to know that.
hmm How I was crazy, honestly. Like in my first year, I did one internship when my first year was over, and then in third semester, I was working with three companies simultaneously. right? And how it happened, I would say like the first internship was for sure like it was something. I mean, I applied to, I remember, 10 plus iOS internships, and I got this internship in Noida at a startup where they didn't even have any iOS developer. So I was the only intern, the only iOS developer working on the project. I had to do my research and then come and work like on what they are working on. But yeah, after that, I would say it was like a chain reaction. One internship led to the second one led to the third one, and I also made sure that I'm building my network all along the way. So I've always been active on LinkedIn. I've always participated in events. I remember when I went to this Digital Ocean conference in Delhi, I met this co-founder who was so cool. He just asked me, "Hey, would you like to come and intern at our company? We need someone on the iOS team." So I would say, just be really really active since you're like day one at school. That would be my advice. Um, and yeah, build your network. If you want to know how to like network on LinkedIn, or like what to do, how to build your profile, stuff like that, then you can check out my YouTube channel. A little plug there, but yeah.
And actually, at your particular time of internships, it was all offline. The system was offline. We had to personally go to college and mark our attendances. Then how did you actually manage while to do the internships offline and to manage your attendance? Because in the tech universities, it's the major part is the attendance
Yeah.
which takes care. So how did you manage the both? And how did you manage to get internships in the first year? Because there are a lot of students who are actually attending in the online university right now, and as a senior they asked me that, Didi, if how could I get the internship? I do not have the prerequisite skills, and how am I supposed to tackle with such problems? I have just started with coding. How should I go with it? So if you could help these students also.
Yeah, so I would say first, like, for sure, if you don't have the prerequisites, obviously even if you apply you won't get the internship, right? I'm not saying that you really need the experience. Obviously that's like one thing that's a little off about the industry, that employers always hire someone that has more experience. But what you can do is take advantage of this online era that we're living in 2021. There's plenty of resources online. You can learn for free, you can join boot camps, you can attend events like this one, keep attending, keep networking, and you're like, if you do all of this and then also work on your side project, this is something that I always say, don't just learn, okay? That's the worst thing you can do. Keep learning for a few months and then you're like, okay, now let's work on something. I would say since day one, whatever you're learning, try to build something practical out of it, right? So try to apply and work on a project. And also, please keep networking. It's actually not that tough when you're in your first year. I understand it might be a little tough if you're directly applying to Google or companies like that, even though there are the step programs that you can check out and similar programs. But yeah, I would say, be fine with opportunities that don't really pay that much. Even if it is 1,000 rupees per month, go for it. Like, you need that one sort of entrance in the field, right? Once you have that, then you will keep on getting opportunities. So like, don't really stress about what kind of company it is, what kind of project it is. Once you have the experience, then obviously you can be picky with things. Like now, I specifically decided to apply and work with Nutrify because they're working on sustainable, like they're a sustainable startup, right? So that's what they're working towards, fighting against climate change. That is something that I am truly like concerned with and passionate about. So that's, I would say, initially just feel free, be open to things, but then you can be picky with what to work
And
on.
now that masters at USA are actually going to cost a lot, so one has to have a lot of so either a lot of bank balance or a lot of scholarships on his hand. So as you are a Venkat Memorial Scholar, So, could you please guide the students to how to get scholarships related to masters? And are there any specific scholarships provided by the university themselves, or the scholarships which aim to encourage more of the students to attend masters?
Yeah, so like first thing I would say is Google Venkat Scholarship is actually not like related to masters or anything like that. It's a totally like different scholarship. But like talking about scholarships that are specific to masters, obviously there are a number of them. But I would say the best ones would probably be the ones that are offered by the schools in the program. And in that, I think the most common one is merit-based scholarship. So with that, you don't really have to submit any application. You are considered automatically on the basis of your profile. Like that's the scholarship that I got from Cornell. It's a $20,000 tuition award. So yeah, like that's I would say apply early first. Please apply early, because if they are out of like funds for the upcoming semester, then even if your profile is good, they will not be able to offer you any scholarship. So yeah, that's one of the ways. The other way, there are like plenty of scholarships. I don't remember the names, but yeah, you can check out some government scholarships. Just look it up, and also make sure that you check out the international services resource on the university's page, because there are a lot of scholarships. Like I applied to Columbia, and there was this scholarship called Shardashish something, right? So that's specific to Columbia, specific to the program that I applied to. Similarly, you will find a lot of scholarships that you might have never heard of. So yeah, do your research and make sure you check out all the options that you have on different ways to fund your education.
So now that we have only a few minutes left, so we'd be starting with the Q&A sessions, and everyone, we have sent a link in the chat box and along a code with it. So all you have to do is click on the link and enter the code and ask your question. It could be anonymous, and you can even write your names. So now we'll start with the Q&A session, and there are a lot of questions which are being asked already. So the first question is, why you want to opt for MEM? I mean, your long-term goal after MEM in USA. Why didn't you opt it for MS in CS or data science, as most of the people do these days after doing masters in USA? Will there be more full-time jobs for us? Why MEM? Why not MIS?
Oh, that's a really wonderful question. You've asked everything, but okay, let's try to answer them real quick. So the first one, why I opted for MEM, because as I said, I love the program. It offers what I'm looking for. I want to get into product management, and MEM offers me like even like Cornell MEM offers me a specialization in product management and entrepreneurship. So like that's why I opted for MEM. And long-term goal after like my studies is probably to work for like 3 years during the OPT period as an associate product manager or product manager, and then I would actually move out of the US. I don't want to live there for too long, so I'll get out of US once my OPT is over. So after 3 years after graduating, I'll move to Europe or somewhere. I don't know. We'll see. Second question. Wait, I think there was another part. Yeah. Why did you not opt for CS? Because as I said, I'm not into research. Number one, I don't really like that stuff. And most of the CS and DS programs are actually research based. So that's why I didn't opt for them. And also I didn't like specifically want to be in the tech space. So like that's why. And after doing MEM, there'll be more full-time jobs for US for us. I mean, there'll be more, like depends on what you're comparing it to. But yeah, there's jobs in every field. Don't really think of which field has more jobs or stuff like that. If you're good at what you do, you'll find opportunities. Why MEM? Why not MIS? MIS is a little more technical, right? I want to get into technical product management, but like MIS is a little too technical for it. That's why I want to be specific with what I'm getting into. I want to understand the difference between MIS and MEM. Okay, so MIS is is Masters in Information and Systems, and MEM is Masters in Engineering Management. In the difference, you can like easily find the resources online. Just look it up. Difference between MEM and MIS. But like the main difference I would say is in MIS there are more technical courses as there are business or management courses, and in engineering management you have more like flexibility to take take courses in both of these fields, engineering and management. So yep. Does work experience matter for masters? um it does not really. Again, it depends on your program. A lot of programs don't have any requirement for work ex, but some of them do say that you need to have 2 3 years of work experience. So like see for your specific program that you're applying to. But generally, no, it does not matter. Does it help? Yes, it does help. Like obviously if you have experience and then you're going for a grad program, it will help you a lot. But if you don't have work ex, you can surely show that you're passionate about what you do and you have the experience through your projects, through your internships. So like don't, if you are planning on doing masters, don't like do job and then go when you know that you want to go one day, right? You can just go now. Should you consider Germany for this program? Doing masters there is considered to be pocket friendly. Oh yeah, it's pretty cheap. It's pretty cheap. If you do MS in Europe, in fact, in any country in Europe, you'll save a lot of money. But yeah, I didn't consider Germany because obviously like the best programs are in the US. Like specifically in my field, engineering management, Cornell is Ivy League, and yeah, I just like for education, I would choose US over Germany, but like that's just my choice. See if like Germany offers what you are looking for. But yeah, for me, it was US. When did you start looking for scholarships and when did you start with the application process? So I started with the application process in, when did I start? Yeah, I started in I think August. Like that's when I wrote my first SOP draft. Then in August, I think I also took my GR exam, and then I took the TOEFL in September. Then I finalized my SOP and I kept on refining it until November, and then I applied to almost all programs in November and December. And I didn't really look. I mean, I didn't apply for any scholarships. I mean, I when I looked for the programs when I was shortlisting universities. Um, that's when I went into like all specific programs and see like what scholarships are available. But yeah, at Cornell, I didn't really consider like there was no separate application. They just considered my profile and offered me the fellowship. Can you apply to 2 or more programs in the same university? So some schools allow you to do that. Some schools won't. So you would have to check for the university that you want to study at. How to cope up with low CGPA? How to cope up with it? Just tell yourself, man, I'm the best. I'm just kidding. How to like up your question is probably how to balance it with respect to all other aspects. I would say since you cannot really do anything about what's already happened, you cannot go back and take the exams again and get your GPA up. But if you have a semester or two left, try to score good in those, right? And if not, then do give all your efforts into other aspects of your application. So the test scores and the SOP and the LOR. Will research experience add weightage to the application? It depends on the program. Again, you have to do your research about all these things for sure. But yeah, if your program is research based, if you have research experience, it will help. But if you don't have it, don't think that they'll straight away reject you, right? Because it's a master's, it's not a PhD. So they know that you won't have that much of experience. But yeah, research papers obviously like help if you are going for research oriented programs. Could you please share your inspiration with us? Uh, what's my inspiration? I don't know, man. Uh, that's a tough one. I talk about such things in my YouTube videos, so maybe you can check that out. But in one line, I would say I just try to be better than what I'm doing today. So like whatever I've done today, tomorrow I'll try to like do a little more, right? I mean, yeah, if that helps. I mean, I take inspiration from my own journey. Like when I know that I'm here and I want to be here, then this journey in itself will inspire me. And I think that's how you should also like try to think about with your journey. I'm from CSC, but I'm interested in AI robotics. I don't have any projects in robotics yet. What are the points I should take care of in applying to universities? So I would say if one, you do need something to show why you are specifically interested in AI and robotics. Please don't say ki when I was 4 years old, I had a robot. Don't do that stuff, okay? Be specific with why, like why you want to do what you want to do. So even if you don't have any projects, maybe you can start doing something now, right? Or maybe you can use the online courses that you've done, or maybe any video you watched. Even that's a good start point, right? You can say that I attended this webinar or this seminar by this person or this professor, and that's how I built interest in this field. And I would like to do a grad program to explore more and like pivot careers from CSC to AI or something like that. Any disadvantage of pursuing MS in spring intake? So one disadvantage with that is that you don't get the summer internship opportunity, because when you're starting in spring in January, um, your 2 semesters will end in December, right? And for the summer internship, you need to have your CPT by May. And yeah, that's the one disadvantage. But when applying for full-time jobs, no, maybe a little disadvantage can be that a lot of companies have their openings in May, so in summertime or in fall time. And with spring intake, you actually graduate in the winters. So I'm not saying you won't find opportunities, but like relatively, there'll be more opportunities if you go for fall intake. How many programs you apply? What's the ideal count of universities and programs to apply? I applied to 10 universities, out of which I actually like withdrew my application from Columbia. So you can say that I applied to 9 programs. What's the ideal count? I would say 6 to 9 is okay. Like, don't go beyond 10, right? Or don't go beyond 12 at any cost. But like, you'll just be wasting your money on safe universities. So don't do that. Apply to like 2 safe programs, or like 1 safe program, and then 3 moderate programs, and then you can go for 3 to 4 ambitious programs. So there'll be like total of 7 to 9 programs. So yeah, that's how you should go with it. Giving GRE this August and applying for fall 22. What do you think about it, or should I wait for next year? Um, if you are ready, like listen, take a mock test, right? So take the power prep test that you get when you register for the exam, or you can find it online. Take that exam, take a mock, and see how much you're scoring. If you are getting 325 or around that, then you can maybe go ahead and take the GRE this year. Like, there's no harm in it. You'll be totally stress free in the next year. But yeah, if you're not scoring that much, then maybe focus on your preparation for 2 to 3 months specifically, and then maybe take the exam next year. Do Indian universities offer engineering management courses? I think a few of them do. I mean, I never did my research in this, but I would assume a few universities offer this program. Yes. But like not a lot, because it's not a well-known program here in India. Because people would go for MBA if they want to get into management. Like, how did you enter the field of iOS? Was it through a YouTube video or some paid course? So I started iOS with Angela Yu's bootcamp on Udemy. It was 750 rupees, I think. Really cheap, very affordable. And yeah, definitely I watched a lot of YouTube videos. And then I also did Udacity's nano degree. Like, I don't recommend it. You just do the Udemy course, and then there's plenty of tutorials on YouTube, right? And since there are many fields, how did you really identify your true interest? So yeah, about this, I always say that you won't know what to do until unless you try all of those fields. When I was in first year, I tried them all: web development, Android, iOS, machine learning. I tried all of these fields, and that's when I decided, okay, iOS is something that like I really enjoy compared to the other fields, and that's when I like dived further into it. So yeah, try all of them, explore as much as you can, because there's so many things in this world to do, right? So don't just stick with one thing, or don't stick with what's hot. Like, if a lot of people are doing ML these days, don't go for it. Okay, I mean, see if you like it, then go for it, but like don't go with the hype, and see where your interest lies. And also don't try to find one thing that you want to do. Try to find things that you don't want to do, right? If that makes sense. What is
Uh,
it about iOS? Yeah, go ahead.
If there are any other questions, please ask via the link provided in the chat box and the code along with it. Please ask them because we are actually coming up to the end time. So please do it soon so that we can take up your question also.
What is it about iOS that makes it better? Okay, I missed it. What is it about iOS that makes it better for you than other fields? I mean, I just enjoy it, honestly. I just enjoy it more. I love Xcode, the IDE that we use. It's much better. Like, don't come at me, but I think it's much better than Android Studio. And yeah, I just like it more. I always use Apple products, and that's why I got into it. Okay, any other question? Will research experience in one program helpful in getting admission to any other program? If I want to apply to a non-tech role, can I add my tech research experience in tech intern roles? Oh, that's a good question. I don't get the first part. Maybe you can rephrase that and ask. But for the second part, for sure you can do that, because in non-tech roles, a lot of times the common things or the common keywords are communication, team management, project management, and these are some of the things that you do in your tech roles, right? You communicate with people, you think about the roadmap, you think about how you prioritize features, and you do all of these things. So definitely, if you don't have any like non-tech experience, for sure go ahead and add your tech intern roles. There's no harm in it.
I believe the first part of the question is trying to say that if one has done research into field ABC, then is it beneficial to write that research part into the SOP if she wants to apply for some XYZ type of technologies? So the difference in the two
Oh,
technologies, would it make a difference?
yeah, so generally, I would say that it's helpful if your research aligns with like what you want to do in your masters. But if you don't have that experience, then maybe you can mention a little bit, but don't dive too deep into it because it does not like connect with what you want to do now, right? But for sure, it can show that you have the research experience, like you are capable of doing research, and you can be a good researcher, right? So with that in mind, you can surely mention it.
So it seems like most of the questions has been asked, they've been answered, and there was one question which was repetitively there, that what does a good profile looks like when you're applying for a Cornell University? Then I believe the entire session was about a person who had a very good profile and who got into the Cornell University. So I believe that the entire session was the answer to this one particular question. And this question is, I believe, a good one.
Will LOAs from a three-tier university help? I'm from such a university. My college is not the best. It's really nowhere near IITs or anything like that. And all my LOAs, two of them were from my professors at college, and one was from Pratik Narang, the coding blocks founder. And yeah, I mean, helps. Like, see, the main thing is that you need to take LOAs from someone that has like closely worked with you, and that can actually like on a personal level talk about your like abilities or your experiences. So it does not make sense to like get the LOR from, let's say, the CEO of your company. It would be better to get the LOR from your supervisor or your manager, engineering manager, or whoever. So similarly, like, don't go for your director at college, go for the professors that you worked on a project with, right? Go for your advisors or whoever like mentored you in your minor or major project at school. That's more helpful.
And I believe all other questions have been answered. There's another question. Any other thing that universities expect from our application apart from the GRE score, apart from the SOPs,
Mhm.
apart from the LORs? What else is being expected?
Yeah, so I mean, they don't really expect anything else. That's all they expect. Like, these are the general requirements for all universities. Obviously, like if some universities have something that others don't, like they might have their own requirements. But if this is like a general question, I would say that what universities are looking for is clarity in your whole application and potential, right? So, are you capable of doing a grad program? Are you capable, if will you successfully like graduate from their program? That's also one of the things that they look at. Will you be a good person to have at in their university? Will you be able to contribute to what they are doing? So like all of these things, that's why I have clarity. That's why I told you in your SOP you should have a flow of things, so that you can really bring your whole story in an intriguing way.
All the questions have been answered by our guest Abhishek Sansanwal, and for that he has also mentioned that one of the LORs he took was from Prateek Narang, co-founder of Coding Blogs. So I'd like to tell everybody that we also ACM-IGDTUW had a session with Prateek Narang, and it is already posted on YouTube channel. You may all visit the channel and see what all sessions have been conducted by ACM-IGDTUW so far, and I believe all of your doubts must have been solved. And okay, there is a question to be Palak, could you okay, I'll check what is the question. Okay, she has asked that if there is a volunteering experience she has done, then what all would is that a part which would affect any give any positive effects towards her SOP or anything towards the admission?
Not that much. Okay, to be honest, grad schools don't care about the NGO work you've done. I know a lot of people would say, okay, it does matter, but I don't think so. If it's not really real closely related to what you do, it won't help much. But it does show that you are trying to build a life and not a resume, so that's why, like, that is something that a lot of programs really appreciate. So if you're doing something for the community, that's also a good thing. So that's why I started with the no, but yes, there's no harm in mentioning it. But yeah, I think a good place would be the resume to mention any like voluntary experience, because in the SOP you probably won't have that much space. So yeah. And also, can I just add, if anyone has any question left, I'm kind of way
Excuse me,
too
sir.
active on LinkedIn, so you
Actually,
can
my
just,
question was different. Can I just quote my question?
yep, sure.
So, my question is how to approach research based interest, and is AI and machine learning more advisable to look for pursuing research? If not research, what can cover a wide interest for a CSE student? Like, we were taught C and C++ in our plus 2, and that drew a scientific approach towards CSC as a branch, and that drew our interest towards it. And then we find it C and C++ only comes into play when we are there for technical interviews. And it is a trend that Java, Python, these are more, and like for web development, app development, for AI also Python is more considered, and C and C++ is nothing to, is nowhere to see. And for even for backend, C is not used, and Java, etc., they are considered more. So it probably um, it decreases the maybe value. And I'm just thinking that I want to pursue some research based interest. So should I that would defocus, and that would be very confusing. So it is valued and it is not valued, and sometimes later something else is valued more. And you don't know if you are a CSS student how to be satisfied. And if you want to pursue research based top things, will C and C++, these are very logical kind of languages. Should they be continued to that journey, or should AI and machine learning and Python be my new pathway? Or so that was all very confusing. Can you have a clear side on it?
Yeah, for sure. That's a valid question. And I would say like this is something that a lot of students think, And what I mean by that is, see, what the way you're thinking is key. The research projects or like research opportunities, they are more so in AI or ML field than in C and C++. And these are like really needed in just the interviews. Into that, what I would say is, for sure, when you begin C and C++, you have to learn the basics. Like they're just the ABCs, right? But then don't think of what field you need to learn to get into research. Okay, like one way to look at it is, a lot of people ask, which field can I find a job? And I would say, don't think like that. Just get skilled at what you're passionate about, right? And that you will know by exploring. So you have to try all these different fields. If ML and AI is something you potentially could like, then maybe watch a few videos, right, by Andrew Ng. Watch a few videos and see if you actually like it. And then if you do, then dive into research in that space. Like don't think of like what field has the opportunity, but instead think about what you're passionate for, and then dive and then look for opportunities in that field. Like with that mindset, it'll be good for you, I would say. I know that does not really answer the question, but I think you can maybe send me the question on like LinkedIn. I'm really active there, and I can probably send you a better reply. But yeah, just two links, LinkedIn and YouTube. Please check those out, and feel free to message me if you have any questions. I think we're running out of time, but yeah.
So I believe now most of the questions have been answered, and I think most of the students might be having some clarity in their minds about how to prepare and how to go about for the masters. And this was the third session with Mastering and Masters with Abhishek Sansanwal, and this is from ACM-IGDTUW. Furthermore sessions regarding the same series and different from the series will be posted on our social media platforms, that is LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook, Instagram. So you may follow us on all the social media platforms. Also our YouTube channel, where if you have missed all of our sessions which are conducted before this one, then you may actually watch them there also. And thank you everyone for joining us today, and thank you Abhishek Sansanwal sir for joining us today and helping everyone to guide them through their ways of pursuing masters at USA. And thank you everyone for joining in again, and thank you sir. And yes, thank you everyone. So I believe it's time to call it a day. Thank
Yeah,
you
yeah,
everyone.
for sure. Goodbye, guys.